This episode is sponsored by Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast with everything you need all in one place. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to build and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When you're hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally free. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM to get started. We hope you enjoy this episode of Breakroom Banter. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Breakroom Banter, a hairstylist adjacent podcast where each week two friends who happen to be hairstylists break down our weeks in the break room. I'm your host, Hunter Walden, joined by my lovely co-host,
Anna Schrader, and today we are going to talk about communication part 2, how to talk to your hairdresser. I'm
really excited about this episode.
Last week we talked a lot about how, as hairdressers, how we can communicate with our clients, and today we're going to be talking about how the client can communicate with us. So this is not only for hairdressers, but literally anyone who steps foot into a salon.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to give you some tips and tricks on how to ask for exactly what you want when you may not have the words to ask those questions.
Let's start with our bouquet, our roses and our thorns.
Oh, right. Hunter. Is it my turn? My turn to go first?
Go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All of my roses and thorns happen to be planty things. So I am a plant dad, as many people know. Many people also do not know. And 2 of my plants have flowered. And I think that's super cool because it's wintertime. And somehow I got them to flower. One, I don't know the technical name, but I know that its name is kind of problematic. So I think it's called a wandering dude among the plant community. It's a Trandoscantia something another. But it has a little purple flower on it, and it's so cute. And my thorn is that my kitty ate my new plant that I just bought.
Oh, yeah, no.
I know. She didn't really eat it, but she's just been nibbling at the leaves, and so...
Has she been vomiting?
No, she'll be fine.
Okay.
It's not a toxic plant to animals. She's just attracted to this one plant in particular for some reason. But now all of the leaves have little kitty bite marks in them.
Oh, you're going to have to move it.
I did move it today.
That's so hard.
The thing is, we have so many animals in our house that the house is truly set up for the animals and not us.
I love that.
So there's really right. There's really nowhere that is inaccessible to said kitty. I just have to be more vigilant.
Hunter says this as I have my cat wrapped around my neck like a scarf.
I've been trying not to laugh. I'm gonna post it. Sir Pounce.
Sir Pounce is draped across my shoulders with his head on my shoulder, and you can't hear it because I have my microphone, but he is snoring in my left ear, and I have an earbud in my right ear. So
he's just the most luxurious scarf you'll ever own.
Yeah, that's a really big rose that I'm experiencing right now.
Right this very second.
My neck is so warm. Any more roses or thorns?
Oh my gosh, I hit a goal this week at work.
Yay!
That I've been really working hard to hit. So
good for you.
That was really exciting. Yeah.
Were you exhausted or did it energize you?
Oh, I was definitely exhausted. However, it energized. Like as soon as I looked at my numbers at the end of the week, I was like, yes. So, and I was ready to go. I was like, let's do it again.
Oh, good for you. That's awesome. Also, I don't know if it was this week, maybe it was last week. You did something on your story that I loved on your Instagram story. You did like client 1 and you said like a little like ditty about that person, and then client 2. And I just thought it was so cute because it was like a day in a life of Hunter and
of what I was doing.
Yeah. I was inspired.
It was fun.
I might do that this week. I thought that was really cute.
It was a really easy day in the salon, and it was one of those where I didn't have clients in between everyone, so it was really easy to post on social media that day. So I've been trying to be a lot better about posting stories.
Well, I think you're doing a great job.
Thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do that this week. I thought it was really cute. Okay, so for my roses and thorns, a rose was we got this really cute neon light in our salon, and it says "Live Inspired," which is our tagline in our salon, and I just love it. We keep it on even when we close, so when you leave the salon, you can see it like shining through the window.
Oh, I bet that looks so good.
It does, and it really has brought joy to my life when I walk into that salon.
That's good.
Yeah. So that was a big rose for me. I have had really a lot of delicious meals, and it's been funny because you know how I told you guys that I'm going to be packing my own lunches to work? Yeah. Well, a lot of my clients have been bringing me food. A lot of them. Like almost every single day I had clients bring me food to work. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah. So it was really funny. It was like great because I have like backup meals in the refrigerator, but now I also have double meals. So not only was I getting lunch, but also dinner. So that was a huge, that was so nice. And I felt like this week, my clients, I learned so much. Like every single client, I learned something new. And my clientele was just really, I mean, it was a normal clientele. I had a few new clients, which is really exciting when I have a new client. But I just felt like I learned so much, so many interesting things that we can go into later. But
isn't it cool how in our job you could know someone for years and years, and just one day they'll just surprise you with a tidbit of information that you're like, oh my goodness, I never knew that.
Yeah,
like that's so cool.
I think that's one reason I love our job is just getting to know people on that level. And I do reflect on the fact that like I get to hang out with these people like 4 to 6 times, or no, every 4 to 6 weeks, some of them, and for sometimes hours at a time. And that's really unique. And they're random people from all walks of life, different ages, different careers. And I feel like that's just such a unique, wonderful part of our job. And you have like these relationships that you really get to build upon.
And I think it's really cool for the coolest thing that I've seen in our salon is because everyone has such a diverse clientele. It's really cool to see just generations of people sitting in the salon talking and sharing stories that we all get to hear and learn from every single day.
Yeah, definitely. And it's cool to see people grow up. Like, I had a client come in, been doing her hair, been in the same salon for 5 years now since we've opened. And I cut her hair when she was in 8th grade. I first started cutting her hair and doing it and coloring it. And so we did 8th grade banquet, and then it was prom. And then she was just, I saw her not too long ago, and she was talking about like boy drama, and it occurred to me that she is in college. She's in college.
That one hit deep.
It hit deep, and I realized, wow, I started doing your hair before you were in high school. You went throughout high school, and now you're in college. Like all of these big life changes. And I just really it hit deep, but it also was such an honor to be there for her in those big life changes and be like a steady, consistent person.
I mean, some people, their hairdresser is the longest relationship they've ever had.
Yeah, maybe outside of family. So it's such a privilege and an honor. And I just had I was reflecting on those things, and sure, I will reflect on them many more times. But I also have to share a thorn because I just need to verbalize and mourn the fact that the Packers lost.
Oh, they did. They sure did.
For everyone who doesn't know, and those who do know should know that I am a huge Packer fan, and it cut deep. We did so well this year, and the game was just horrible. Like this is not about sports, but I just have to say I have never seen anyone block a punt. The 49ers blocked a punt and then ran it right in to get a touchdown. And that's how we lost.
So unbelievable. Go sports ball. Go sports ball. So I don't think that I knew that you were such a Packers fan. And I have a fun fact.
Please share.
So my cousin played for the Packers
several
years ago. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about this more later.
We will, but, yes.
I'm still in love with the Packers, and even though that they lost, this is very common for them to do. They fold in playoffs, and I just have to keep on reminding myself that it is just a game. It's just a game. It's okay. Life goes on.
It does. But that's a mighty thorn.
Mighty
thorn. It's a mighty thorn.
I can't believe I woke up the next morning thinking, was it all a dream? Please let it be a dream.
Oh, it was really that serious, huh?
I'm getting dramatic. Okay. I'm getting dramatic. But it was. I did think about it a lot on Sunday.
I do know the Titans lost as well. And it was devastating here in Tennessee for many people. So
well.
So I can sympathize with you.
Do you have a football team, Hunter?
I do not. Okay. I'm not a sports person. I don't think I've ever watched a sport from beginning to end. I played football though.
Did you?
I did. I sure
awesome.
did. Yeah.
But
I played for 3 years in middle school, forced upon me. And in those 3 years, I played one play in a game. In that one play, I made the tackle of the person with the ball. But get this. This was my 8th grade year. It was a great thing that I made the tackle, but they wanted someone else. They wanted the other Hunter to be on the field. So I got yelled at and put back on the bench. So I played one play in 3 years by mistake. But I made the tackle. So, I feel like my football career really, that was the peak of it. And I thought after that, I wouldn't want to risk
and on a good
ruining
note.
My reputation. Yeah, I wanted to end it on a good note.
For you, Hunter. So proud. So proud. Oh, that is so amazing. I've learned so much about you in the last 30 seconds. Thank you.
I'll share a photo with you.
Yes, please do. And then put it on your story.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I will.
Oh, that is so amazing. Okay, so you want to start it?
Let's start it. We are going to talk about how you can ask for certain things. Give you some hairdresser verbiage to ask us questions to save some frustration on your end with us asking you multiple questions, trying to pull out what you actually want. So something we hear a lot in the salon is just take off the ends.
Just take off the ends.
Just take off the ends, the dead ends. Or what was it that people say to you, Anna?
Well, they'll say that, but many times they'll just say, whatever it needs to be healthy again. Take off whatever it needs to be healthy again.
And here's the thing. I don't know if people know where that point is in their hair when they're looking at it.
And hair is all dead.
It is all dead. It's dead skin cells.
Mm-hmm.
But what I like to do whenever someone says that is I'll take a contrasting sheet of paper or fabric and lay under their hair, and I'll show them where you stop seeing that contrasting piece of fabric or paper. So where I can stop seeing through your hair, that is where the dead ends have stopped, and your hair is full and healthy. So that is where, in my mind as a hairdresser, when someone asks, just take off what needs to be taken off to make it healthy again, that's where my eyes go.
A better question would be then, instead of just the dead ends, a better question would be, can you show me how much you would need to take off in order to take the unhealthy ends off?
Mm-hmm.
That would be a better question instead of just the dead ends. And then, because sometimes people aren't prepared to take off what needs to happen. And then if you do, then they'll be upset. So would
you agree too, though, for the hairdressers listening, if we're just cutting right after they ask for just the dead, that would be a fault in communication almost. That it kind of rang a bell in my head.
That would be on us. So that would be going back to last week's conversation.
It sure would.
Hunter, would you say that there's a difference in split ends versus dry ends?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the differences are?
Dry ends just need nourishment. They need a conditioning treatment or a steam treatment. With split ends, I like to think of split ends kind of like pantyhose. So
just take them off.
Just take them off. No, but when you get a run in your pantyhose, right? My grandma used to take fingernail polish and put on the run in the pantyhose to stop it from running.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of think of a haircut as that fingernail polish, where you're cutting off the dead end so that it doesn't continue to split up the hair shaft.
That's a really good analogy. I love that.
Thank you. You can thank my grandmother. You can thank my grandmother for that one.
Oh, that's so sweet. That's a great analogy. I always like to say, okay, let's talk split ends versus dry ends. Split ends you can't fix. Dry ends
you can.
And I'll usually turn them around, give them the mirror, and show them, this is where your hair is splitting, and this is where it's dry. Now, do you want me to, because some people are like, just take care of the dry ends. I want it to be super healthy. And that's great. We could do that all, but just saying, make it healthy again, sometimes there needs to be a little bit more of a conversation. So a better thing to say would be, can you show me where the split ends are and show me where my hair is dry?
Absolutely.
Another thing is everyone has a different inch. Literally everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just take an inch off.
Yeah.
It's
an inch to us will be the true. To me, I have a comb with a measurement on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I show that. I see Anna laughing because I think that we have the same joke in our head. So take it away, Anna. I'm gonna let you.
No, you
I'm
say
gonna
the
let
joke.
you roll with this.
You say it.
You know, if you have a male hairdresser and you ask for an inch, men are typically a lot worse with their inches than women.
The inch is going to be a lot more.
A lot more for a man than a woman. But truly, an inch to everyone, it looks different. So
it's always good to take out the comb and measure it out and be like, okay, this is an inch. And usually people are surprised.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's a lot more than I thought. Yeah. Maybe just a half an inch. Maybe I just want a half an inch.
Bring in a tape measure next time you get your hair. Just kidding. That's getting way out of hand.
Oh. But yes, just making sure if you're going to use inches, 3 inches can turn into 1 inch really quick. in all seriousness. So another, going back to the hairdresser, just communicating that, showing physically what that 1 to 3 inches looks like, and making sure that that's really what they want.
Right.
Communication part 2, baby.
Yeah. And then as the client, be decisive. So if you say, if you've already talked about it and the consultation was clear, it's really hurtful for us when, I mean, it's not actually, it's just hard on us because
it's frustrating.
It's frustrating when you finish a haircut and then all of a sudden you say, oh, can we go shorter? And I understand, like, I definitely understand how that works because sometimes you don't understand until you see it. So, like, I get it. We're not mad about it. But when it's a consistent thing and you always are like, oh, go shorter, it's hard because then it's a whole nother haircut for us to do. Yeah,
it's almost like you want to charge for 2 haircuts at that point.
Right. And then let's just be real. By that time, your time is up and there's someone waiting in the front for you already. And now you have to redo a whole haircut in like 5 minutes versus 15 minutes.
It's guaranteed to not look good.
Yeah, it's not going to be as precise as the first cut where we sectioned it all out and texturized the ends while we were cutting. And so just be a little bit decisive. And I mean, that is communication on both sides. Sometimes
Absolutely,
we need to just say, now, are you sure you don't want to go shorter? Or say, you know what, last time I remember you wanted to go shorter. Do you want to just start off by taking off the 3 inches versus the 1?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Because when you have to redo a haircut completely like that, and I said it's guaranteed not to be good. When I say that, it can be okay. However, like Anna said, there's now 5 minutes until my next guest needs to be sitting in my chair. But I need to take probably 30 minutes to do this from start to finish properly again.
Right.
So it's not only frustrating for us, but it's frustrating for the person waiting behind, and then subsequently every person behind that person. Because when you get behind in the salon, even 15 minutes,
there goes your lunch break.
Yeah. Or any chance of anything for the rest of the day.
Yeah. And that's just part of the job. So we're not mad about it. It's just communication. Let's see the other one. Fringe.
Or bang.
Fringe. Yeah, bang. I also realized that in the South, people call them banes. They drop the G. Banes.
Oh, yeah, banes. Yeah, banes.
The first couple times I heard that, I was like, banes?
I don't think it's necessarily that the G gets dropped. We, down here in the South, we just got a lazy tongue sometimes. So that's like, we drop syllables, and sometimes the sound of the letter just is not important.
Okay, because when I hear Bane, I think the evil villain on Batman.
Right. I think it may just be that lazy tongue slipping off the G, but it's there, and we know it's there.
And if you ever hear us saying fringe, it's just another word for bangs. But basically, what the fringe or bangs includes, for all of you non-hairdressers, is basically everything in front of the ears. If you were to draw a line from the front of your ears all the way up to the top, it's like the first 2 inches of your hairline back.
To inch and a half, yeah.
And that would be, so when you come in for a bang trim, that's what we're going to focus on.
Absolutely.
And if you ask us to go into the layering, we're going to say,
that's a haircut.
For a haircut.
Yeah. It's, we actually just had this conversation at our monthly meeting at the salon, what the meaning of a maintenance cut. We don't call it a bang trim or a fringe trim. We call it maintenance cut. because it's so that it encompasses the like neckline of pixies.
Oh,
Trimming off the little hairs that follow down, things like that.
That's nice.
Just to make it a little more gender neutral, I guess.
Or you could just say lineup.
Yeah.
Ours is bang trim and / lineup.
Yeah. We just have one word for it. So the meaning of a maintenance cut, because 9 times out of 10, your stylist isn't going to charge you for a bang trim or a maintenance of your haircut. So just to be considerate that is how we get paid. So if you want a bang trim, make sure you want just a bang trim.
Right. Yeah.
You brought something up interesting earlier when we were talking about fades.
Yeah. So in the barbering world, and I don't have my barbering license, but in Michigan or in Wisconsin, I live right on the border of Michigan, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin, it's kind of included in cosmetology. A fade means down to skin. So that is without any kind of guard on your clippers. So when you come in and say, and we all know like people misuse this, but a fade technically means like down to skin 0. And then if you want it to fade into anything else, it's like 0 to something. So you could say a fade graduated to a 1 or a 2. But anything where you have a guard is technically a graduation haircut. So if you want to get real fancy, you could say, I would like you to start with maybe a 3 being the longest and a 1 being the shortest. So a 1 graduated to a 3 would be technical terms.
Right. For our 28% of men that are listening to this podcast, if you don't want skin on the bottom, you do not want to fade.
Again, it would be a really bad hairdresser to not question that. So it's on us to question. So, but yeah, I think it's interesting.
To clarify, communication.
Yeah. What about a blunt cut? What does that mean when we say blunt cut?
So a blunt cut means all 0 degree elevation ending with a blunt cut, meaning no layering.
There you go, no layering. Or some people would refer to it as a solid haircut.
Yes, a solid haircut. Blunt cuts are seen a lot on Instagram. I see it advertising like keratin treatments or like the silky hair where people put the comb behind the hair and like make it look like waves.
Yeah, and it's gonna look really smooth, and you're not gonna see a whole lot of activation of the ends, and it's sleek. A great cut. Yeah, it's a great cut if you want that really long, like sleek, shiny cut.
It's going to, all of the weight is going to rest at the bottom. So think Kim Kardashian. When her hair's long, it's in a blunt cut. Even whenever she has that bob wig that she wears sometimes, it's a blunt cut, meaning all the weight lays on the ends of the hair. It's really smooth all the way down.
Yeah. So it's going to look like a line on the bottom.
And then how about when someone asks for a certain number of layers?
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up, Hunter.
I don't know why it just popped into my head. I was just like, oh, people ask for this. This is it. It's not asked for as much as it used to be. But I do remember when I was a little girl, I remember asking, could I just have like maybe 1 or 2 layers? And when they're saying that, it just means that they want their hair to look like have a bunch of different weight lines in it. And you don't want that. Let me just tell you, as a hairstylist, you do not want weight lines in your hair unless it's very intentional and you're doing something like avant-garde. Or a graduated bob.
Right. So you really don't want to say, I want 1 or 2 layers in the hair.
Right.
But what would be a better way to phrase that for someone?
if someone is wanting to see different levels of layering in their hair, maybe
a good question would be, where would you like to see volume in your hair?
Right. I was trying to, that caught me a little off guard at how would I respond to that?
Good, we're practicing.
Yes. So if someone asked me for multiple layers, I would ask, is it because you want these focal points? Because whenever I look at a haircut that has a lot of layers like that, think of like the wolf cut or the modern shag with the curtain bang, where there's less layering in the back of the hair, but in more towards the face. I see solid focal points that accentuate different parts of the face. So I always ask, are you seeing these focal points and that's what you mean by layers of hair? And if that's what they say and they want the explanation of how layers work, I will give them the explanation. But I would know, okay, they're looking for these focal points. They want it here at the eyebrow. They want it at the cheekbone. They want it at the jawline. And then they want another at their collarbone.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it too. But, and also a good one would be like, do you have an idea of where you want your layers to start? Like, would you like it to start like at your cheekbones and then kind of feather away? Or in the back of your head, do you want it to start like, do you want to have a lot of volume in the crown? And then you would know how to angle your layers. Or do you want to see a lot of fullness towards the ends?
Do you have a lot of people that ask for feathering? Like, will you feather my hair back? I do have a couple clients who will ask it to be feathered, and they're kind of older clientele. I would say the same thing. So for younger hairdressers, maybe just getting out of school, not learning what feathering means.
Right.
I just heard you say feather, and it made me think. It made me think of that because I have a lot of clients that ask for their hair to be feathered.
Right. I would just love to like pull out a whole bin of feathers and just, like,
just go to town.
To their hair. You said you wanted feathered.
You wanted it feathered. I put feathers in it. I don't know what you're talking about. That would be hilarious.
This is why this podcast is funny, and we had fun talking about it, because like if we took what everyone said literally, oh my gosh, it would be so funny.
I've seen a bunch of memes where it's like when they ask for 2 layers and it's just chop.
Right? Oh, or that just like a legit straight up Christmas tree.
Yes.
Oh, my favorite thing is when people sit down and they say, my hair is just laying there. It just lays there.
It just lays there. Just lays flat. Well, do you blow dry it?
Right? I'm like, what do you want it to do? Do you want it to get up and dance for you? Do you want it to like start a kick line? What do you want your hair to do?
Little Music City Rockettes, Radio City Rockettes.
Oh my gosh. Oh, Rockettes are amazing. I love them.
We are beauticians, not magicians.
Yes. Go ahead.
Another one that you said was balayage.
Balayage?
Balayage. Biolage. How do we say this word? Anna?
Balayage. Balayage.
Luchidla.
Balayage. Again, so many good memes made out of this, and I get it. Like, I remember when I first saw the word, I like sent a message to my boss, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this looks like such a fun technique." And
so
it kind of came.
Go ahead.
Okay, I was just gonna say the balayage in the States piggybacked off of the ombre trend. So it was ombre, which was basically like you went from dark to light in one line. There was no blending.
Right. We tried to blend it. We tried.
There's just no
to make
hope.
it blendy. Right.
And then,
but then balayage came along.
Which is our saving grace, and it's been trending
Yes.
for a very, very long time, and we are not mad about it.
I don't think it'll ever go away.
No, and the fact that it's a low maintenance option, it can be a high maintenance option, but traditionally balayage was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was originated in France, right?
Yes.
Balayage.
So the definition of balayage is to sweep.
To sweep, and it's actually referring to the motion of applying color.
Right.
And
so the word balayage is a technique used with hair.
Yes. And I think people, when they say, I want a balayage, they're not asking for a technique. Because in France, if you're applying hair like a traditional balayage, you're applying it and it's an open air process, you're only going to get maybe 1 to 2 levels of lift. Now, for those of you who don't know what a level is, say, let's go from a dark chocolate to a milk chocolate. That's going to be about 2 levels of lift. And so, but balayage has morphed into, now all of a sudden you're going from a dark chocolate
to a white chocolate.
And you can't get that with the technique, the original technique. So it has morphed into to fit different trends. So it's not as natural as it was, but you're going to see a lot more drastic color changes in the hair. And you get that way by using a foil, which we call as a foliage. Thank you, George Alderati.
Yes, George.
Yes, he is the king of foliage, and we're just going to plug. You should take his class. Foliage class is amazing.
Mm-hmm. He also has combs available on georgealdereti.com. They're the coolest combs. They're retractable pintail combs.
Yeah, they're like little switchblades.
Yeah, and they're super sturdy, and they're really great. Like the teasing one, I like it better than all of my other teasing combs that I use for color. It's so easy to clean. It's really, like I said, sturdy. So like it's really good to travel with. I love them. I love them. That's georgealdereti.com.
Yeah, I love putting it in my pocket because, what did I just say? I love putting it in my pocket. Did I just say that? I love putting it in my pocket or in my purse, and it's not going to poke a hole in it because you can close the foil comb. Yeah. But as you can pick up from what we're talking, there are so many different techniques in balayage. So to just say, I want balayage, you have to come in with some pictures and give us some specifics, because balayage has morphed into a million different things from when it first came out in France.
Balayage is meant to be a subtle look. It's that sombre.
Yeah, which means what the sun does to your hair. Like it's balayage is basically just supposed to mimic a long vacation on the beach.
Absolutely. That's a good way to put that.
Fun fact about the balayage, it actually dates back to the 1970s. So
really?
The French, I just looked that up. The French have been doing this for a very, very long time. And then I want to say it moved to like Brazil, and they became like superheroes of the balayage. And now as Americans, we've taken it and done like more of the foliage technique. So we can actually get like a full, like 8 levels of lift with the hair. Right.
That is very interesting. I did not know that they've been doing it for so long, and it took us this long to catch up. We're so far behind.
Yes. We used to call it in school, we used to call it surface painting.
Yes. We did learn surface painting in school.
But again, different, because surface painting means that it's going to just sit on top of the section and not saturate to the end. So that's another thing with balayage. It's so fun because you're working with saturation, and there are some areas where you don't want to fully saturate, and then towards the, in some of the areas like the ends, you want to do full saturation. It's just so fun. I love the traditional way of painting the hair. Love it. It's
so awesome that you can control with balayage. This is what I like. You can control the end result based on like the amount of pressure you apply on the brush or the amount of product that's on the hair. If you get it consistently even and get that fade with your lightener, it's guaranteed to give you that melted color look at the end, which is really cool.
Yes.
So one last thing that we wanted to talk about is virgin hair. What does virgin hair mean?
Virgin hair means untouched by color.
Or chemical, period.
Or any kind of chemical. Nothing.
Yes.
It's raw from the scalp, untouched, pure.
So, you know, the color rinses at Sally's or the fun color conditioners you got for 4th of July. Those count. They're still in there. Somewhere, somehow they are still in there.
I was making that noise just to say it like negates you from having virgin hair.
Yes, it does. And I think it's hilarious when people say, oh, this is my natural hair color, but there's clearly a line of demarcation. No words.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, but what is this line? What was this?
You're lying,
Did that happen
sweetie.
while you were sleeping? Although I will say that there is a very interesting thing that happens when women are pregnant. They do get like a weird line of demarcation in their hair. And it typically I've only experienced it with blondes, natural blondes, like level 7 and up. But your hair gets darker when you're pregnant, and then after you have the baby, it goes back to its normal
lighter.
color. So that's the only time where we're going to see a line. When we say line of demarcation, we do not mean like that historical line. What was it, from France and Spain that the Pope made? What is that history lesson? I don't remember. We're not referring to that. There was a line of demarcation somewhere in history I remember learning. But a line of demarcation means from your natural to color. Mm-hmm. So that's another verbiage you're going to hear us use, the line of demarcation. Mm-hmm. And we're not talking history, we're talking hair still.
Yes, absolutely. I have something that actually just popped in my mind when you just talked about a line of demarcation. So we see it all the time that guests come into the salon asking to be their natural gray. And what they may not know is how long that may take. Right. We may not get that even today in this one visit. Say you're scheduled for your normal highlight. If I only have 2 hours booked with you, this may take 6, 7, 8 hours. And
Plus.
Then appointments after that. And that goes for many things, right? When you want to go from dark chocolate or even milk chocolate to white chocolate, it's a lot of steps.
Yeah. And they also need to realize the maintenance that's going to come along with that, because even if you get it to white, it's still going to fade back to yellow.
Absolutely. So you have to be using your silver savior. I think that we have said purple shampoo in every episode.
Yeah, probably.
I think that we have talked about purple shampoo in every episode. But
now the game is going to be, where does it show up next?
But yeah, so just know, if you have dark hair, whether your hair is naturally dark or it is artificially tinted to be dark, and you want to be more than 3 levels lighter than you are, that is going to be considered more of a color correction than just a typical appointment.
And what Hunter means by color correction is that there's going to be excess steps. You can't just do it in one step. There's going to be a couple steps that we are going to have to take. And you as a client, you're probably going to have to take at home as well. So a good way to communicate with us as hairdressers, instead of saying, I want to be white, or I want to be gray, or I want to be platinum. Instead of sitting down and stating what you want, yes, maybe state what you want, and then ask, what is it going to take to get me there? And being open to the fact that it might not just be a one-stop shop. It might be, okay, I never like to tell clients no. I always say, well, let me tell you what is going to take to get you there. Be very realistic, and also talk about cost too, because sometimes people don't want to come into the salon that much, or they don't have the funds to sustain that. And if they're going to be in it for the long haul, then they need to know what it's going to cost and what that's going to look like.
Absolutely.
And so it just goes back to communication, and realize that there's a lot that goes into it. We deal with hair every single day. We know the texture of hair. We understand. We can pretty much predict what's going to happen. If we know your color history, we can predict what's going to happen. So just ask us. And if you don't believe us, you can always ask for a test strand. And then we can show you and say, you know what, if we do this, your hair is going to fall off. And so let me show you. We should make a TikTok that goes, let me show you. You know?
I don't know that I know that trend. You'll have to send one to me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I will. But then you can go take that piece of hair that's already been bleached 3 times and then bleach it again, and it'll fall apart like cotton, literally like cotton.
It will.
So
and here's something that I like to explain to people. And a lot of people have a misconception, because I think it's almost like a Mandela effect for hairdressers. Some of us remember in hair school being told that the cuticle can be shut.
Like
right?
a door.
Like a door. And here's the thing, the cuticle is not a door. So think of when you bleach hair, you're slamming the door open, right? When you color hair, you're opening the door. And when you do a semi-demi permanent hair color, you're knocking before you open, right? And the more times you slam a door open, the more deteriorated. Yeah. So that's what we mean by your hair's going to fall off. The cuticle has been open so far that it can't open anymore, and it falls right off. So I think we're getting a little loopy. This is the latest podcast we've ever recorded.
Yeah.
And we decided that we wanted to make it a little more fun at the end of our episodes and add a new segment. And since this was your idea, Anna, I want you to take it away.
Okay. All right. So we are going to say truth or lie.
Okay.
So I'm going to either tell you a hair truth or a myth, and you have to tell me or guess, and we're just going to talk it out.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. So cold water adds lots of shine to the hair.
And I'm trying to guess if this is a myth or a truth.
Yes.
Okay.
Does cold water make your hair shiny?
No, I don't think so.
You're correct. No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There's some people who are convinced that washing your hair every single day with cold water will make your hair shinier.
Yes, I have clients that ask me to rinse their hair in cold water when I shampoo.
I do too, and it's so funny. And I always say there's no scientific facts that cold water will make your hair shiny.
But I'll do it if you want. Well, Anna, this is our 4th episode. How do you feel about it?
Good.
Yeah?
It's fun. I look forward to seeing you every single week. I'm like, oh, hunter time.
I know. It's been great. But I think we're a little loopy. We've got what we need for today. Mm-hmm. So
We're
Do you have
so
any closing
thankful for all of you
remarks?
guys who are, my closing remark is we're so thankful for all of you guys who are listening and following us on this journey and being a part of it. And we would love if you guys like had anything to add to what we talked about today, or if you've ever heard hairdressers talk and you felt confused, like message us, let us know if you have any like myths that you want us to bust, or if you have questions, send those in too. We want to hear from you guys.
We were just talking before we started, and I know that we keep rambling and we're trying to figure out this podcasting style, but we were just talking about how cool it is that our real life people are listening right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't feel like we have to be super informal right now when we say this, but seriously, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah,
this has been so fun.
Hunter, what's the best way if someone wants to ask a question? It would be to DM the Instagram, right?
I would say the best way if you want a question answered is to comment on our social media. And the reason for that, since it is all of our closest friends and families listening right now, is because that boosts our algorithm on social media and lets other people see our podcast. And for that less than 1% of you in South Africa that are listening right now, I want to know your name. Can I be your friend? How did you hear about us?
Yes, we want to know you.
Yeah, we thought that it was so cool. We have Turkey, which is
my sister.
Anna's sister, yeah. And then someone in South Africa that is listening to our podcast. So thank everyone for listening to another episode of Breakroom Banter. And I think for now, that's it. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at HairXHunter. Our podcast has an Instagram at Breakroom Banter Pod. And our lovely Anna's Instagram is
Anna.shr8hair.
And until next time, we'll see you then. Bye.
Bye.